Hi, I'm Dr. J, and welcome to 5-Minute Fridays. I have a background of a master's in human performance/applied sports science and a doctorate in sport and performance psychology. This week, we're going to talk about plyometrics. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more 5-Minute Fridays with your Dr. J. Let's first cover what a plyometric is, right? And so, by definition, a plyometric is to be considered a rapid deceleration of mass followed almost immediately by a rapid acceleration of that mass. And this could be an implement, like something that is thrown or carried, or it could just be body mass, right? So we're looking at ourselves as athletes and what we're moving and how we're responding to those movements, right? Another way to look at plyometrics would be the stretch shortening cycle, or SSC for short. And this is considered a rapid eccentric movement for a muscle, which is typically the lowering piece of that, or the moving back versus moving forward of the pushing movement, right? And so this rapid eccentric movement is followed almost immediately by a rapid concentric movement, right? And that eccentric is going to stretch the muscle a little bit. That's going to put us in that position, right? So if we think about our muscles as rubber bands, we're stretching that rubber band just a little bit, but then we're following it right behind it with a snap, right? And that's where we're going to get that power from. So then when we think about plyometrics and this capacity for us to generate force, we're looking to utilize the potential of a muscle being stretched to create more tension and power output versus just the simple contraction, right? If I load my arm and then I push it back out, we intend the force to be much stronger than if I simply just extend my arm, right? And so we're trying to get a little bit of a load into it, which will be the stretch component, and then we're going to fire right after it, and that'll be our shortening piece where that muscle is contracting to create that action. Whether we're throwing, jumping, running, bounding, skipping, pushing off, cutting, and creating these dynamic angles within sport. Then our next consideration is, how does plyometrics affect sport ability, right? Or our athleticism. And one of the studies by Singh and Singh, they found that a combination of vertical and horizontal plyometrics used in combination lead to increased running speed, right? So our top speed can increase when we're able to use these things in combination. Plyometrics can lead to an increase in power as well, right? So if we're able to handle forces and then return that force, right? If we think about Newton's third law, right? Equal and opposite, right? So as a force is coming, we're able to handle that force, and we're going to be able to output that force to the same degree, if not to a greater degree, as we get more comfortable with these plyometric movements. Then one of the greatest areas of gains happens to be our nervous system. So plyometrics affect how our nervous system is able to communicate with the motor units, which are the pieces of our muscle that get recruited as groups of fibers, right? And it affects that communication pathway, right? So as we're able to utilize these types of exercises, our body actually gets faster, which is called the firing rate. It gets faster at recruiting these muscle units. And not only that, these motor units become more available, and so that wiring is better within that, right? So not only are we traveling down the highway faster, our ability to handle more on the same highway is increasing, right? So we're able to handle more traffic, and we're able to handle more force output. And along with that, our nervous system and our musculature is controlled by something called GTOs, right? Golgi tendon organs. And these GTOs are set up within our muscles and within our joints to be able to protect our body, right? So that we don't have excessive forces on our joints, and it'll make the muscle stop before it can create a dangerous situation for that muscle. But as we train and as we're able to adapt, our body is actually able to handle more force, and those GTOs actually are inhibited. And by that GTO being inhibited, we're able to act on greater force, but then we're also able to voluntarily create more force in response to the exception of greater force. And so it's like multifaceted in that capacity. And in addition to the firing rate, also our muscle coordination improves, right? So that hand-eye coordination could potentially improve, or our ability to get our muscles to move at a faster rate in response to these things, right? So as we're working on this, as we're practicing these things, you might find that certain activities actually get easier from the emphasis of our body being in a better position to do these things, and our body having the capacity to do these things much better. Then in addition to the nervous system gains, also the connective tissue that exists within our muscle gets stronger. So not only is our body willing to do more force related activities. It's also able to handle greater force oriented activities because it is structurally stronger, right? In addition to that, our tendons also get stronger, right? Because a lot of people worrying about speed or concerned about being able to jump better or move better are concerned about tendon strength or tendon stiffness, right? And so to a certain degree, these plyometrics are going to stiffen our tendons, which makes our body much more responsive as a lever system to create these awesome displays of athleticism. So then you might be asking yourself, what do some of these plyometric exercises look like? What are an example of some of these things that I can do on my own, right? And so depending on where you're at, you might be able to handle more force and more volume, or you might need to dial it back and start simple and very basic, right? But starting basic doesn't mean that you're losing the opportunity for the benefits that come with this style of training. And so we're gonna look at this video of me doing some training. In the first clip here, you're gonna see me with one foot on a box, right? So as I load, I'm gonna go into a short stretch cycle right before I press off that box to get that response, right? And then as I land, I receive the force that was generated from the jump I just took off on, and then I go right back into the next one. And so this one is a little bit more advanced. As you get comfortable with your balance, this is a great single leg plyometric that can be utilized for speed, for jump height, and for general plyometric work. In the second clip, you're going to see me doing variations of some horizontal plyometrics. So the first clip is going to be a straight leg bound where I'm focusing on keeping my footsteps very tight and very fast, all right? This one is working on speed, but also being able to handle force with good posture and good core control as I attack the ground on this. And then in this third clip, you're going to see me do some bounding, all right? And the bounding is an exaggerated run, just shy of skipping, right? And we're working on putting as much force into the ground as possible to generate some height on our steps, and we're alternating between the legs, right? So we need to be coordinated in the aspect of being ready to switch feet as we're moving through this, right? And as you get more comfortable, you're going to be able to add more speed into this activity, which you see will translate into other areas of your athleticism, right? And so we mentioned in the previous section that it's going to increase your body's muscular connective tissues. And so now not only are you able to put more force down, it's going to help to make your body hardier to handle more force, right? And so this can be something that we can utilize to, in general, create a wealth of benefits in how we're moving athletically. If you want more specific training, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, and I can help you build a program for yourself as you're looking to get these improvements. Please join us again in 2 weeks when we cover our next topic for 5 Minute Fridays. We'll be focusing on a sport and performance psychology emphasis. Thank you for joining me on this 5 Minute Friday. Once again, I'm Dr. J, and as always, be refined by the grind.